Tonight on the final score, basketball was the talk of Baton Rouge this weekend. For the first time since 2006, LSU was in the Sweet 16. But it was a night to forget as the Tigers ultimately fell short. Tiger TV was in D.C. for the weekend, and we'll bring you the recap from that one.
And while in the nation's capital, TTV also got the chance to talk to LSU sports and politics with two of Louisiana's most prominent politicians, Steve Scalise and Mary Landrieu. All that and much more. The final score starts right now. Welcome to the show. I'm Caroline Fenton. She's Lily Fontenot, and while we have a lot to get to tonight, first, a developing non-sports story here in Baton Rouge. Two bodies were found in an apartment near LSU's campus this afternoon, according to BRPD. Police responded to a call from Highlander Townhomes, located on Highland Road between Astor Street and West Roosevelt Street at 1 p.m. today, regarding the bodies. Follow us on our social media or at tigertv.tv for updates. Moving on to sports now, and as we mentioned off the top, LSU was in Washington, D.C., taking part in the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2006, when they went all the way to the Final Four.
And just like that 2006 run, the year's NCAA tournament journey started in Jacksonville, Florida. But that's where the similarities end between the two squads. Michigan State's hot shooting led the Spartans to their win over the Tigers and to a spot in the Elite Eight. Luke Chevalier was in D.C. after the game for the recap.
The Tigers knew they were in for a tough night, going up against the seasoned Michigan State Spartans. But LSU felt like it was up for the challenge.
The Spartans started off hot, hitting a barrage of threes, giving them the early lead. The Tigers fought back, and a buzzer-beating three-point shot from Tremont Waters gave the Tigers a boost going into halftime.
Yeah, we felt like we can get back into the game. It was a big boost in our confidence.
LSU rode the momentum, but Michigan State quickly answered.
Came back at halftime. We said that we were going to try to get it to 7 or 8. Then the first 4 before the first media timeout, and we actually cut it down to 4 points. And to see it go back to 15 so quick was the worst part about it.
The physicality and the shooting of the Spartans proved to be too much for LSU in the second half.
So we didn't rebound the ball. They were going in there, but they were all over the glass. That's what we've been doing to teams. They flipped it on us tonight.
The Tigers ultimately fell short, losing 80-63.
My guys, we've had a great run this year through all the adversity we've been through. They accomplished a lot, and I'm really proud of these guys.
Despite the loss, LSU can celebrate the deepest tournament run the program has made since 2006.
Reporting for Tiger TV Sports, I'm Luke Chevalier.
With the Tigers falling short against Michigan State, a thrilling ride finally came to an end. After the loss, the players reflected on the season as a whole and what their takeaways were from the historic year.
Like I told my teammates, I feel like I learned a lot more about myself off the court than I did on the court. Obviously, I learned things on the court, but they kind of pushed me to be more of a leader, and I kind of had to step up. And even if I didn't have the answers, I had to go and find them. Because my teammates were looking for answers, and obviously with the Coach Wade situation, that's when I had to become more of a leader, and they were looking for even more answers, so I had to do even more. So I would say just my growth as a leader.
It's more than basketball. These guys are definitely family. I'm just going to miss just hanging out with these guys after practice and maybe walking back to the dorms, even stuff like that. The little things that you probably just blow off. But, we're not really going to be able to do that as much. So I love this group, and it's just special.
A lot of things, cherish moments. Just love each other and just be happy to be around each other, because I feel like we'll never be able to lace up together, this collective group right here, ever again. So just cherish the moments.
Politics and sports aren't normally supposed to mix, but with the NCAA tournament going through our nation's capital, Tiger TV sports reporter and D.C. native Tima Masters had the chance to speak to two Louisiana political giants on either side of the aisle about how sports and politics can interact.
Here at the United States Capitol, where Republicans and Democrats never really agree upon anything, they will agree upon one thing: their favorite team.
Former Senator of Louisiana, Mary Landrieu, spoke about the connections between politics and sports.
Well, politics is a tough sport these days. I don't know if it's as tough as what's happening on the basketball court, but it's pretty tough. But One thing about sports is it really brings everybody together.
House of Representative Whip Steve Scalise articulated how sports can bring the human nature out of people.
But we had a friendly wager on the LSU-Maryland game, and it was fun. It was something that we could actually, you're sparring, you want your team to win, but you're also, having fun because sports really does have that ability to unite people.
Reporting for Tiger TV Sports at the United States Capitol, I'm Tima Masters.
The basketball team stole the headlines this weekend, and understandably so. But another LSU team who won an SEC title this past season also made the news. LSU soccer head coach Brian Lee has left the program to take the head coaching job at Rice after 14 years in Baton Rouge. Lee heads to Rice to replace Nikki Adams, who left to take the same job at Syracuse. Lee, in his time with the Tigers, took LSU to 6 NCAA tournament appearances and last year coached the team to their first ever SEC tournament championship. Lee finishes in Baton Rouge with an overall record of 143 wins, 108 losses, and 45 ties. When we return, we'll see what Gym Stars are saying before they host the NCAA Baton Rouge Regional this weekend, and we'll break down baseball's bounce back in Starkville. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Final Score. This weekend, LSU Gymnastics will be hosting the Baton Rouge Regional, the first step in a long road to the Tigers potentially getting back to the NCAA Final Championship meet. In the past, which was a 6-team affair, but now will just be 4 teams, newly dubbed the 4 on the floor. The Tigers gave their final thoughts to the media on how their close friendships helped them overcome challenges this season.
We're just a special group of girls. I feel like most teams say that, but there's just something about our chemistry that's different. It's something about the tenacity this team has. From the beginning, we had a rough start, but we've rock climbed as a team. We always talk about that our goal is at the top of the mountain, and each team takes a different path to get there. And I consider our start as a rock climb, but we are smooth sailing now, and we work together. And I think at every meet, not only we learned something, but we've done something with that lesson. And it gets me excited to know that I think we could face absolutely anything.
The Tigers will face number 14 Auburn, Arizona State, and the winner of George Washington versus Lindenwood in their regional session. The top 2 teams from that session will then compete against the top 2 teams from the other Baton Rouge regional session to lock in a spot to the Super Regionals, which is one step closer to the national semifinal and final, which will both be held in Fort Worth, Texas on April 19th.
After starting the season at number 1 in the polls, LSU baseball has gotten off to a rocky start. Getting swept at Texas by the Longhorns was concerning, and a midweek loss to McNeese State led to a players-only meeting after the game to try and right the ship. It seems to have had a positive effect, as this past weekend the Tigers faced the second-ranked Mississippi State Bulldogs on the road and left Starkville with their first road series win since 2017. After losing the opening game 6-5, the Tigers bounced back with a 10-5 win on Saturday before going off in the rubber match yesterday afternoon. This RBA double by Giovanni DiGiacomo set the tone offensively on what would be a long day for the Mississippi State pitching staff. Defensively, the Tigers were on point too. Big plays like this rangy effort by shortstop Josh Smith perfectly complemented pitcher Eric Walker's stellar start of 7 shutout innings with 3 strikeouts. And their performance was accentuated by this Antoine Duplantis home run, his 2nd of the day and 7th of the season, as the Tigers left Stark Vegas winners by a score of 11-2. The win improves LSU to 19-9 on the season and 6-3 in SEC play. The Tigers entered the weekend at number 12, but jumped to number 9 today, leapfrogging Mississippi State in the process. Next up for the Tigers, a midweek showdown against Grambling State, followed by a weekend series at the box against conference foe Texas A&M. After the break, we look at arguably the coolest LSU performance the weekend had to offer. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to the show. Over the weekend, the LSU track and field team was lighting up social media with their outstanding performances at the Texas Relays.
Let's take a look. In the men's 4x100-meter relay, Houston had the lead late in the last leg, but LSU's anchor Jaron Flournoy made this remarkable comeback with a time of 38 seconds, and he could not contain his emotions.
Moving on to the women's 100-meter dash, freshman sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson, who is a Texas native, ran the 3rd fastest all-conditions time by any U20 athlete in the world history with this 10.91. This time was Richardson's first sub-11 100-meter dash in her career, and you could tell she was just shocked. After a successful weekend in Austin, track and field will host the Battle of the Bayou this Saturday, April 6th. The meet starts at 9 a.m. in the Bernie Moore Track Stadium. Well, that's all the time we have for tonight. For more, check out our social media pages or visit tigertv.tv.
For Lily Fontenot, I'm Caroline Fenton. Thanks for watching and have a great evening, Tigers.